Hello and welcome to I Am Geek. This is episode 241. I'm Ryan, joined by my brother Chris and our good pal Katrin.
Hey-o.
And tonight we have a very special guest, and we're going to talk about some spooky, fun things. It's going to be a fun night. So if you like pirates, you like treasure, you like escaping from it all, then you're going to have a fun night tonight. So here we go. Welcome Craig Watt from Terror Isle. Terror Isle Ventures? Escape
Yes, sir.
Rooms. And haunted attractions and so much that we're going to get to. But welcome tonight to the show. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Glad to be on here with you guys. I was glad you were able to finally come out and see the second half of what we do.
Yeah, it was amazing, and we're going to get into that. I went, and my wife, and then our friends from Princess and Scoundrel, the YouTube show / podcast came with us, and we had a blast. I've personally done a lot of escape rooms. I know Katrin has done a lot of escape rooms. Chris has done a few.
Yeah, I'm still in one. I never got out.
It's called marriage, am I right?
My wife doesn't watch or listen.
Well, but this was probably, one of the best escape rooms I've ever been to, as far as quality and just the way the game's run. It was top notch. So let's get into tell us your background. Tell us how you got into haunted attractions and escape games, because this is something that most people, don't get into. So this is really cool to have somebody on here that's done both.
It's interesting because before I did this, I've done 2 escape rooms. So I'm a rookie at them too. So, which is a good thing, because my background is, I'm an insurance guy by day, but pay the bills to afford this thing. But I was a musician growing up, and I always liked writing my own music. I did not like to play covers because I always felt like it would influence the way I would write. Next thing I know, it sounds like so and so. So I've always had that mindset, and I took it into this business too. So not coming from that background, it actually gives you a whole different approach to it. So my background, I'm a haunted house guy. I've did it 20 years at my house, slowly building up, doing it with the kids. Kids get grown, they leave. Then I'm like, oh, what am I going to do now? So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go build a pro one, as they call it. So in the haunt world, they have the home haunters and the pro haunters. They love saying this, but it's the same thing. The home guys have to learn how to build lots of stuff from scratch because they have no budget. So that's where you get into like the geeky stuff, building things out of whatever you can find and using, old computers and monitors, whatever you can get together to put together. But you have time. You can sit there and craft your project for the year. I'm going to build this monster that pops out, that's air pneumatic, blah, blah, blah. And you just go through it. You can't do that on a pro level. It's just too much work, too massive. So I came from that background. But when I started to build this, I was like, I've got to fill in the other 11 months. And being a business guy and working with tons of businesses, I'm looking at all the different models. And I studied the haunted house industry for about 10 years, podcast, a lot of them. There's some great podcasts out there in the haunt world. And I got really into looking at all the different models and asking tons of questions, because haunted house owners are awesome to bounce ideas off of. They will tell you more than you want to hear. They love talking about their trade, and no one hides things. The whole industry really works together. You go to their Facebook groups, it's, hey, how do I do this? And there'll be 1,000 people that'll share. And it's really elevated up the technology and the knowledge. It's really cool. And so I thought about, murder mysteries, dinner theater. I thought about paintball. I thought about all that. And I was like, what would be cool is taking escape room games and stuffing them inside the haunted house.
Yeah.
Sounds cool, right? Logical. It's ultra complicated because all the way from the fire code, haunted house, you can't have doors. You can have curtains, but you can't have doors that have magnetic locks. It's a fire trap. Escape rooms, it's all about magnetic lock doors.
That's right.
So literally, we had to design this from the ground up with almost two different brains, because it's 2 different worlds. Escape rooms are geeky. Haunted house is more like rock and roll, outcast, like to scare people. But merging them together, even at the trade show, it's called Trans World. It's the biggest trade show for haunted houses, and they have a whole escape room section. You don't see people even crossing over that. I would go to the classes this year, and I'd go to escape room classes because I need to soak in all the information. There's not that many haunters in there, but they're starting to grasp this. And the strength of a haunted house person is immersive theater, deep psychological design. I mean, when you scare someone in a haunt, you don't know it when you're walking through, but there's someone that's figured out, hey, I'm going to put this distraction here. I'm going to have them come this way. I'm going to hit these two senses so I can make the reptilian brain kick in and they fall on the floor. It's really logical, but you don't see all that. You just go, oh, I just got scared. So combining the both of them, it made sense on paper. Very complicated, but I think we pulled it off. So
you did. I'll go ahead and say
it. and we're trying to. I don't think I could ever merge both into just one business, because I've had that idea. How do you? Because there's scare versus puzzle solving. You can't solve puzzles scared. It's too hard.
Just watch the Saw movies. It doesn't work out for them.
It doesn't. And Vegas has a solved escape room. I wonder. I've read some reviews of it, but I don't think you could just flat out put a bunch of actors in there and scare the snot out of them and expect them to solve puzzles. It doesn't work. So I don't know if you can get it to the point of where it's merged into one new beast. But I don't really even call them escape rooms. What we do is I call them adventure rooms. Because we do it a little different. Escape rooms, you go in, you got 60 minutes for people who've never played them before. You're solving a series of puzzles. It's like a live action video game, basically. And without the virtual glasses, right? So, but most escape rooms, they give you either a limited amount of clues, or if you fail, oh well, they want you to come back. And I played one recently that is one of the best in the country. It's fabulous. It's a haunted house guy owns it, and I won't mention the name. But he gives you 3 clues, and you pay a lot of money to go in.
Yeah.
And we were 7 minutes late. We shouldn't. People of all people should know you don't show up late to an escape room because they cut your time. We didn't beat the game. We didn't get to see the big finale. And I looked at my guy and I was like, that's exactly why everybody's a winner at our place. So we're going to make it as hard as possible. We're going to let you get right on the edge through our game masters, which are like dungeon masters, and get you right on the edge where you struggle all the way to the end, but you win the game. So you feel like you had a good time. You ended the movie. And it's just a different, and I think some escape rooms are moving this way because the model of, they'll come back and play the same game. They won't. They'll play the other games.
Yeah.
Because you split some of the magic. But yeah, so it's been interesting. We're about 3 months in and getting amazing reviews, more than I expected. I was pretty shocked, but and it really is the immersiveness. I think it's just hitting all senses. We take the old haunted house approach where, I've got smells, I've got lights, I've got sound, I've got wind. I even have a beach. And then on a house, we have water that blasts out and, cannons. And so we even have these things called butt kickers, which I don't know if y'all know what those are.
Yeah.
Okay. In the movie stuff, the haptics, right? We have haptic things buried into the floor of one of the games. It makes the whole thing move. We're trying to hit every sense you can to make it fully immersive. Projection. I'm going to get into more projection mapping. The company I was about to buy a bunch from went under, unfortunately, so I got to figure out the technology, but bringing in layers of projection map, just anything you could throw in technology-wise to take it to another level. That's what we're trying to do.
Cool. Yeah, that was one thing I told you that night that I'm like, what I really loved about what you guys were doing was that we finished. Like, it wasn't like the 3 clues and you're out. We got to finish. We got to see what the ending was. And I didn't know that going in. So, like, we're freaking out and they're like, we got to keep going. Because the timer's, oh,
yeah,
counting down. But we made it to the end. I think the second game we played, we did a little better than the first game. But both were just amazing. So I definitely want to come back because you have 3 games, right?
We have 3 games. We're going to build those games are, so this whole place was built by, it ain't all me. I had the big ideas of things. I dipped in and out, and I did a lot of the construction. But I've had haunted house builders. I've had haunters. I had an escape room company design these first initial games and build them. It is an army. I'd say artists, painters. Our place has probably more styrofoam than any haunted house. Literally everything's carved out of foam, and then we hard coat it. All the stonework, all the columns, the stuff on the back of the ships. I mean, we have so much foam in there. I mean, I was buying just from a place in Houston, just truckloads of it. And I didn't even think to save the shavings to make bean bags, but I could have totally made but not an environmentally friendly business. But it's interesting. The technology is pretty cool on how this works. So there's like different levels of escape rooms. So escape room guys apparently don't use this terminology anymore, but I'm not an escape room guy. So they have like generations. So generation 1 is like analog puzzles. And it doesn't mean one's better than the other, because I played one recently in Houston that has live actors that's amazing, and they weren't over the top tech heavy. So that would be like locks, wooden puzzles, they're hard. They can be hard. Yeah. Second generation is someone's behind the curtain pushing buttons. Electronics, releasing this door, opening this hatch. Third generation is what we do, and that's where we have software called M3 that everything runs to it, and we have game masters like dungeon masters upstairs with a giant screen with cameras in every room. They have headphones on. They have their own microphone. We have in each of the rooms we have everything's. We have a back and forth PA. Those computers basically go through to a hub, if you will, called a PLC in each game, which then broadcasts out gazillions of wires to all these switches and effects and things that release and smoke machines and lights. And it runs off what's called DMX, if you all have ever heard of that. Yeah. DMX. It's the same things they use in rock concerts for lighting. It's a pretty cool software that you can use to control the coding. You can control anything on it. So it's whatever your imagination can come up with. TV controls, we do all that too, everything. So there's a gazillion wires in there. I'm scared with DMX. It's one long series wire. One snap, you're screwed. And I'm just going, Haunter really run off one series of wire? Yeah. That's how they do it. I'm like, really? It's like, and so it works apparently. But
so it's a show that you're putting on, and it's all this programming that makes it happen, right? And it's not just going in and solving puzzles, basically, but you're going in for an experience more than anything, right?
It's run by Skynet.
I'm trying to visualize thing like a video game console.
Yeah.
And you flip the different games out. There's a haunted house game, and there's escape room games, and who knows what else we'll come up with next. Because I've come up with ideas of things that are non-intellectual, more skill level games under time. For those that are good at puzzles. But, they're good at games of skill, making an obstacle course sort of thing where you have to solve things under timers. But basically, there's some program on the back end on that side, which I have an amazing guy that owns escape room games called Exodus Games on the East Coast. This guy, he's a saint. He did all the programming, pulling all the trades in, just trying to, my approach to anything like this is you kind of give the parameters to someone and you let them go do their thing, because the worst thing you can do to an artist and go, I want it exactly like this, because they don't put their heart in it.
Right.
Go to a tattoo guy and go, here's my drawing. I want it exactly like this. It's not going to, you go, here's the drawing. Give me your version of this. And that's how you get really the best out of people. And it's working. We're still in what's called the hardening phase, where I learned what that is real quick. That's where people break stuff. Those boards on the floor come up. 33 beer drinking bankers and insurance people in there, and someone unscrew one of the magnetic locks, and I'm like, really? They unscrew rude. It's not even a pirate puzzle. So this hardening process where you have to basically make by 6 months, everything's bulletproof. Man, you think you have everything childproofed in there? They'll find something. It's bizarre.
Yeah, a lot of them will say,
didn't he?
Hopefully, we didn't break anything. Hopefully, we're good.
Actually, I encourage breaking because then we figured out how to build these games ourselves by fixing them. I'm like, I can do this. Now, a lot of the stuff's Arduino, you say it, the Arduino programming, the little boards. I know a lot of people do a lot of that with their smart homes and stuff like that. There are off-the-shelf things that haunters use that those people have decided to go on escape room stuff. We're going to use a little bit of their stuff because I think the program is a little overkill. I think it's job security for the people that make these games. Can you come to my game? Nah. And we figured a way around it. But yeah, fixing this stuff, I was like, that gave me an idea about how to do this. And so we've managed to build a couple new puzzles ourselves that just to start testing it out. And one of them is analog. I got a scale in there from like Eastern European scale that's just big, gnarly metals thing. Nice. And I won't give the clues on how it works, but basically you weigh out things and it gives you clues, and it's the most basic thing in the world, but it's hard. People struggle with it. And then tech we're in where we have a torch where you have to light it. It runs off RFID, just like your security badges, to do the triggering. But learning these toys, I never knew this stuff because I'm not an escape room guy. I'm like, man, I'm bringing this stuff into the haunted house.
Yeah.
So, I'm bringing tech into haunts because haunts have kind of gotten stagnant with a lot of their tech.
Sure.
And I've just came up with a new one, and I hope they don't copy it. I want to be the first guy to roll it out, but you guys play video games. I'm not a video game guy. I was listening to another podcast, and somebody's talking about doing these situational shooting training things, and they're wearing vests. They're not haptic, but they're like shock vest, right?
Oh wow,
that's a little extreme.
That is a little extreme.
Yeah, so they want to simulate when you shoot somebody, that person gets shocked, and they're trying to make it as real as possible in these scenarios. But it got my brain turned. I'm like, I know they make haptic vests. I know they make haptic things for laser tag. So I started digging around, and I found. Hang on, let me grab it. This is the coolest thing ever. I don't know if y'all know this brand in video games. Can you all see it? WOOJER.
Woozer. No.
Woozer.
Not familiar.
This is a haptic vest with 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 butt kickers basically on it. So
that's cool.
I was like, man, I don't do touching in our haunts. Some haunts do touching. I believe that it's weak. If you can't scare somebody with your abilities and your settings, then you need to go practice.
Yeah.
Touch, it's kind of weird, and I'm an insurance guy. I'm like, we ain't touching anybody. But I sure as hell will put them in a haptic suit. So I came up with this is going to be cool, and no one's doing this. So that's still my idea, I'm sure. So this fourth escape room game, I'm going to strap people in these haptic vests, but they're going to be coated with a pirate jacket because everything we have is pirate themed.
Okay.
And I'm going to be able to trigger these things when magic spells go off, when a gun gets shot at you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool. Nobody's doing
cool.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Games all the time. And it's just like, this technology is not really that complicated. We got way crazier stuff. It's just speakers that have a little off-center weight, basically, just vibrates. Right. And people make these things off of Sony controllers and stuff like that. But I was just like, I need something a little industrial. So this brand, I haven't tested yet. I'm charging it. I'm just like waiting for the 2-hour charge. Right. Imagine being in the vest and you're playing that game you played, and then certain triggers happen and things start vibrating your clues. It's just another level of making it more immersive.
Yeah.
Does that connect with like Bluetooth or something like that? Or
you can do Bluetooth or you got a jack on it. So
okay.
The problem with Bluetooth is, because I've been trying to map this out in my head, how the hell am I going to do this? And this is where the home haunter stuff comes in, because I got to figure out how to rig this thing. Bluetooth, obviously, you have a one connection, one device pairing. Well, say, I don't think I can get this ready for the haunt season, but I definitely will do it in the 4th game and then figure out how to do it through a whole maze. So the way our haunt's laid out is it tells a story. You start in a ship, you end in the treasure room. Imagine any pirate story. It's basically the same thing. You shipwreck, blah, blah, blah. We got voodoo sections. We've got taverns. We've got dungeons. We got all that stuff. But with a Bluetooth, you only have 100-foot.
Right.
That's the weakness of Bluetooth. I have one that'll get maybe 125. They're limited. It's a cleaner sound, obviously. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take FM transmitter, receiver, and receiver.
Yeah.
I'll hook up the FM receiver to it. That way, whatever's tuned into that blank station, so I could trigger from multiple spots that transmit.
Yeah.
And all it is a dumb, radio that has a lock.
Yeah.
That's going to be hooked to this thing. And that way, my actors, in the haunt, my vision of this is my actors have guns, the muskets, and we already have cannons that, as they're walking through, you pay for this VIP version, and bam, you're getting hit. It's gonna, without touching. The escape room game, we're gonna get it where it's involved in the cluing and stuff like that. We could do that one Bluetooth probably. But
sign me up. I'm there first thing.
Pretty cool, because I'm like, what other? I learned this from a haunting guy that's pretty big in the industry, and he's like, you need to borrow things from other fields to make things. And he did a whole program just on like, what is it called? Feng Shui. Like Feng Shui have to do haunted houses. If you ever read a Feng Shui book, there's the anti-Feng Shui. This is the stuff not to do. You don't line doors up.
Yeah.
Right?
It throws people off, right?
You don't have cabinet, the doors aiming at you.
Yeah.
There's all this psychological stuff with Feng Shui. So when you're building a haunt, you really can use the technology of the anti-Feng Shui that psychologically screws with people. They have no idea this is going on. I mean, haunters just sit around how to do this. So barring from all these other fields, like this is a gamer thing, man. Virtual reality, I don't think will ever take over haunts. There are some out there. It's just it's not there.
It's like cheating, right?
Yeah, it's just not there. There are some guys. We had on our grand opening. We had a vendor out there that had I didn't get to play it. He had a haunted house virtual game, but this technology I think you could use. I'm always digging around in other areas because otherwise you just kind of get in that rut.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, this. Go ahead.
No, I'm just excited about this thing. I want it to charge up.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, this whole concept is right up my alley because I don't know if I told you or not, but I've had background in working in haunts and writing escape rooms. So when I saw you doing this, I was like, this is like the best of both worlds for me because I used to do like escape rooms for events, like private events and stuff. So I write it for the private events, and then I would work for Busch Gardens during their Halloween Scream thing. So did the scaring. So this is the best of both worlds, and it's like on Universal Studios level, like your place. It's so cool. I'm not going to give anything away because I want people to go experience it. But there is like one game starts with 2 animatronics that are actually talking to you instead of telling you the story. Instead of like you go to a lot of escape rooms, you'll have some guy that works there come in and he's like, and welcome to the escape room. Here's the story. You're a pirate and there's going to be stuff that happens. Yeah.
I mean, I soaked up a lot from that this guy named Josh who owns Exodus Games, and he's a 26-year-old genius kid, amazing guy. I love this dude. He said it's your game masters make or break the game.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So like for instance, like if you go in an escape room, there's always this big old clock somewhere. you don't have a clock in the pirate world. And they were trying to talk me into putting a TV in there and then put a nice pretty frame around it. No, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. So we do auditory. We have a lot of pre-recorded voiceover things on something. I don't know. The games are kind of weird because the guy that wrote and designed the games, he's not with me anymore. We kind of parted ways. But big gamer guy, big board game guy, big video game guy, and you could see kind of the evolution of him writing I said, here's what I want, this is what I do, and then he would put together of the game, first game versus third game, and we have a lot of cluing on the first game that's manual. It's someone up there with a microphone, and they do their pirate thing, the mateys and all that. The second one, we actually use televisions with pre-recorded actors on them, and you can't imagine enough clues to pre-record, because someone's going to do something dopey, and you're going to have to go. You have to give them a clue. But it's really cool because this actress, the TV screen runs off these boxes, basically are triggered, that have SD cards with the pre-recorded videos, and it has the clues built into it. So upstairs, you can hit the button and give them a clue, sends the signal down, triggers that video, and this actress, who is our voodoo priestess, she's going to be on her shirt this year that I got designed. It's amazing. But the third one, we have it coming from the wall. There's a big carving, so it's talking. So we kind of mix it up. But yeah, we want to make it so immersive. Why would you have a clock in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely helps with it. And the kids are good at this. I'm learning how to operate the games. I'm terrible. You don't want me running it.
Oh.
The best part was the first one we played. Like, we had just gotten started, and we finally got out of one area, a cage basically, and they come over the loudspeaker and they say, "You have 10 minutes left," and we're like, what's going on? We just started. And they're like, "We're just kidding."
That was me. We don't normally do that. I had to mess with you.
It made me laugh. It was so funny.
About 50 minutes. They're like, "What?" Yeah. Just kidding. Yeah. It's pretty cool being up there because you have to design these games. What we had a problem with is when we first rolled out one game and then got the second one going, got the third one going, because as we're rolling these out during the day, we're building, repairing, and fixing things that were given to us that didn't quite work the way they were sold, and trying to fix all the problems. And I'm grateful for that, because it did teach me. I'm like, oh, I can do this for thousands of dollars cheaper. But it with each one of those things, with the cluing, you get someone in there that's played a lot of escape room games. They were whipping through these things in 30 minutes, and I'm like, this is a nightmare. What are we gonna do? So we're like, okay, I guess we got to put our big boy pants on and make some extra games. So we start adding them in there, and we got it about balanced out now, where you can always make it easier. You can't make them harder. Yeah. So the thing is, we really went a little bit over the average person's skill levels on some of these, but we can get them the timing right where they finish just right.
Cool.
That's the key. That way everybody's a winner. We've only had 3 people lose. And
wow.
You're like, we've tried everything. I'm sorry. We're turning the lights off, going home.
One group, I think they were hired in a kite. I think that was their problem.
For 3 days.
Yeah. I don't think they were going to escape to their car.
The one thing that about got me is before we played the second game, you were just sort of going over the rules real fast, and you said, whatever you do, don't touch anything that's red, because that's not part of the game. Don't touch anything that's red.
Yes.
Sprinklers or whatever. So we get in this game, and we get to a part where we're stuck. And we're like, what are we supposed to do? And there's these 2 handprints that are red on these 2 things. And I'm like, well, we can't touch red. So we know that has nothing to do with the game. So we can't touch red.
For those.
So then somebody came over the speaker and said, you can touch those. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's so weird. It's literally you have two different brains you have to run on this. So the haunted house, no one touches anything. They stay in the center of the lane. They crouch down. They don't see any of this decor.
Yeah.
Since we're brand new, we had about 2,500 people run for the season, which is not bad for a first-year haunt, but it's not where we're going to end up. We'll end up at 12,000. It's about all we can do because it's a single run. And it's not like, Universal, you have, multiple 10 haunts,
Yeah.
which if you have never been to Universal haunt, you got to go. It's not. The core is just, I just geeked out the whole time in that thing. I was just, you could throw something at me and try to scare me, and I'm not going to care. I'm like, how did they build that?
I do the same thing.
You're not even scared. You're like trying to figure out how they made something.
Right.
Yeah. I've done when I went through the Universal ones, I was just pointing at stuff going, ooh, and someone's like, oh, I'm like, I'm looking at how you build stuff. Just go scare those people.
I mean, contracting heaven. So with the haunted houses, it's so weird because no one sees anything. They don't look up. So we have second story on part of this thing, and we have a lot of high ceilings because our haunt's not big. It's 5,500 square foot building. That's not a big haunted house, but we pack it in really tight. It doesn't feel like it. Escape room games were massive because they're multiple room games. But we do all the Disney tricks. We do the upper floors are smaller, the psychological we play with all those tricks, those theme park tricks. We use a lot of those. We have a lot of windows where we haven't gotten to it yet. We're doing projection out the windows and we do some of this, but we're slowly at it. We have clouds. We have those types of things to create that depth. Trying to use some of those games. And then like Disney did, if you watch the Imagineering series, which is awesome, they start bringing in that projection mapping. And we did some of that this year, but we're definitely, that's coming in there. We've got spiders and all kinds of crazy stuff we're going to do. But the escape room people versus the haunt, it's just everything has to be bulletproof, and you have to lock things. So we have locks locking the computer rooms, and we're like, okay, how do we? And maybe we need to change the color of the locks, but
just paint the hands white or something.
Yeah, that works. It's like, how do you keep people out of places they're not supposed to go and think it's part of the game? And we have emergency buttons for these magnetic doors, and no matter how many times you would tell them, the kids go slap it. You're not supposed to do that, so now we have big signs over it. It's very interesting watching the psychology of people do these. So what was your favorite part?
Oh man. There was one thing that I thought was really fun that I've never seen in an escape room before, is that you basically had a skee ball game.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this thing looks like a skee ball game, and then I found these balls, and I'm like, it's a skee ball game, and you had to like roll it in this mouth that was moving up, open and closed to get something to trigger. I still don't know what that triggered. It triggered something.
It popped out some stuff around the corner.
Oh, okay. Because I was doing that, and other people were around the corner.
Yeah. It popped some those golden things out.
Okay.
Yeah, the skee ball game's pretty interesting because that was all of our games, and from a financial business standpoint, I did not do this right. We basically said, we want this. And I should have said to these escape room builders, what do you have? And let me reverse engineer it into the game. So the way a really, really good haunt, the big haunts that do a good job, is you write a backstory. Mm-hmm. So I came up with Terror Isle. I wanted a pirate theme because we're right on the water. Yeah. No one pirate haunts. There's one called Pirates of Emerson in San Francisco. There's a few people have a little bit of pirate here and there, but not a fully dedicated. I mean, pirates are nasty, scary people. Then you got the voodoo thing. I mean, we're 6 blocks from the water. Jean Lafitte, right there. We literally are where pirates used to be. We're 15 minutes from Galveston, Texas, so it's all there, right? So I brought in a guy from Houston that wrote his name's Billy Stewart. He has a bunch of horror books he's written, and he's got podcasts. He does all this stuff too. And we became friends over Facebook, and he helped me write the whole backstory. So we then, from the backstory, now you got kind of it's kind of storyboarding the haunted house games, and then from there you can flesh out your characters. So now you got your characters for your haunt, and you got your characters for the escape room games, and you have it makes it flow better instead of just like in haunted houses you'll be in one room's in a insane asylum, next room's clowns, next room's this, next thing that. It's weird. You go to Universal, there's a theme on that one. That's the theme. It tells the story. The year I went, they had a Ghostbusters one. The Ghostbusters story. It literally, you walk through, and they did Us, and it told the story. And if you've seen the movies, you're like, oh, they just made it all flow. And that's what we try to do with that. So you have that backstory. You write the backstory. You got the characters and all that stuff. So then you can create these games. And then so we go in there with them, and we were like, hey, we want this game. Well, they had to custom every game. Not a good idea from a money standpoint. If I did it again, what I would do is go to them and go, all right, what games you have and how do we reskin them? And that particular game was one of theirs. They already had, because they have computer systems that they CNC route a lot of their stuff. They're basically fancy cabinet builders with circuit boards in them. That's what those they're building stuff for NASA right now, these guys.
Oh wow. But yeah, there's a lot of different games that I haven't seen in escape rooms that were, and some of them were probably just simple things. Like I don't want to give everything away, but I like the part where you have to quote unquote dance.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. Like that was just something different. And just how it was laid out, and you could tell that it was a story. I thought there's a lot of escape rooms that will do like you're locked in a cell, but I really liked how you did it. We were locked in a cell. Sort of the team was split and locked in two cells, and that was really cool.
Classic move in escape room games.
Yeah.
Trying to add the pirate effects, and trying to actually go along with the story. The dancing thing's kind of funny. These things are cursing me. Because from the get-go, the original idea is we have these, and we're going to bring these into the haunt this year. We have these merfolk, fishmen, basically, okay? Half man, half fish. And the original idea is we're going to put them in a giant net and hang it above in that big treasure room, and you have to position yourself in certain places to trigger the next piece. Well, we put them all in this thing. It weighs a gazillion pounds, and then my insurance ring's going off because I got me, ex-Marine, and another guy. We're trying to hoist this big net full of. I'm like, if it takes 3 people to do this, and my building's a 1915 building, it's a fortress. It survived the Tech City disaster, explosion, and hurricanes, and it had these big beams. But I'm like, if it's this heavy, I don't think I should be doing this. This is going to crush somebody. So we rearrange them, and these things have sensors in them. And they don't always work. You don't see this when you're playing, but you have to go in a specific pattern to do the thing. And the sensors work half the time. So we visually do this. So now we've kind of made it to a fun thing is if you dance in there, you solved it. So people are starting to dance in there, which is hilarious. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it was funny because we were there with another couple, and that's the first time that the couple that we were with, that's the first time we've met in person. Like they came on our show, and I've talked to them online and stuff. But so my wife and her husband was in another room working a puzzle, and then we get this thing that says dance, and we're looking at each other like, are we supposed to start dancing with each other? What is going on? And then we figured out, oh no, we got to follow this thing. It was really funny. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm still going back and forth which game. Of course, we haven't played the third game, but which of the two games I like better. But they were both so different that I loved both of them. There was elements of both of them that I just loved.
Yeah. One of the things fuck this system. I'm a rebel. I'm always in trouble. I'm a total libertarian rebel, right? So one of the things I was told is you need to make each game a different theme. And what I mean by that, like drastic, like you got an Egyptian room, you got a NASA room, you got this. And I'm like, no, that makes no sense, because you could create totally different games, but stay still in this Terror Isle world.
Yeah.
We have so much material to play with. I mean, we have the voodoo material, we have pirate material. We use the next game we're going to do. We're going to go into more of magical type stuff. So the whole backstory at Terror Isle is there's this, like Galveston Island kind of place, and there's a pirate king, and the pirate king has his treasure hoarded there, and he has a voodoo priestess that summoned dead zombie pirates to help protect the treasure. And you're with another crew on a boat called the Ravenger, and these guys they're just as bad. We don't have good guys. There's no good pirates. So these movies, no. We're trying to make pirates evil again. So the Ravenger crew, they're a bunch of cannibals. So you're going with a group of cannibals to go on an island, try to raid it to get the treasure from the Pirate King. And that's really kind of the big picture of Terror Isle. And then so we get to play with all the stuff like this fish guys. We have fishmen. We have an Aztec section where, there's some ruins there, and we have people there. And so there's so much material. We haven't even touched all the tropes. We haven't messed with like walking the plank. There's so many cool pirate things we haven't even messed with yet. That's going to be fun to do later on. And these games have about a 4 or 5 year lifespan, really. Believe it or not, I was kind of like, how long does this last? Because these things are kind of expensive.
Yeah. You can have a section where you're like downloading illegal videos.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of pirating.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. Yeah.
But we're going to go
evil.
So this Pirate King's got the 2 rooms we're not using in escape room games right now. Is we have when you enter into the house, it's the foyer, and then when he has his library with the classic pipe organ and the big books and stuff. It's really cool. Those 2 rooms, we're going to make it really more magic oriented. Throw a little Harry Potter action in there. And so then I can kind of branch off into that side of things. So, but still we try to keep everything pretty period correct. I mean, the outfits, the design, everything in there.
Furniture.
Much as possible, except we have a freezer room. We have frozen dead pirates, which I'm planning on piping air from the AC up top of these giant ACs to cool it down. That's the one thing I'm missing. I got to freeze the room.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. But it's the only room it's just like, come on, man, they didn't have a freezer room, but you gotta have frozen dead pirates. I had to have them custom made.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So the 3 games you have right now are called Mystic Voyage, Nefarious Offering, and Dungeon of the Drowned. And so if you're following the story, is it you start in Mystic Voyage, and then you go to Nefarious, and then a Dungeon? So we did Dungeon, and then we did Mystic Voyage. So we haven't done the Nefarious.
Nefarious
Offering.
is my favorite. It's my favorite. I think all 3 are equally as good. Seriously. When people ask me which one should I play, Nefarious I usually pick if it's a big group too, because it's 1, 2, 3. It's 3 huge rooms.
Oh wow!
Escape rooms don't do rooms this big, and from a business standpoint, it kind of a lot of escape room places will put the big ones will put 9 rooms, but to me, I need to balance it. I want it where you're getting a different experience in each room, and you're having that, part of an escape room game is getting that little hit because, I got it, yes, and then go to the next section, just like a video game. You're on the next level, and you don't want to be stuck on the same level the whole time. So keeping the rooms big, I'm happy with. I need this 4th one because I do corporate events and parties, and I just had 33 people I stuffed in 3 games, and man, it was tight. But it tells the story if you play them in order, but you can play them out of order and you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And the haunted, you have no idea, because the haunted house, I let people go through as many times as they want, which is not done ever, because my people are there and I'm paying them, and the lines weren't massive yet. So I'm like, y'all go through as many times as you want. This time, look around so you could see all this cool stuff in there, because they don't notice it.
Yeah.
And
they're distracted by the scares.
And we have a massive shark. We have a shark that's head's as big as the car.
Yes, that jumped. Yeah, it's huge. We ran in a corner, and there he was jumping out at us, and it was really funny.
That's the only scary thing I leave on because it's so big. What am I going to do with it? I might as well use it. I have all the dead bodies are upstairs right now. So, and all the monsters are turned off and hidden. And so the idea is September 15th, I'm gonna use 2 weeks to lead up to the haunt. Turn off the escape room bookings, go into haunt mode, drag the bodies down, toss the stuff up, screw the doors to the walls, and try to figure out how fast we can do it. I think we can do it in a week's time, so we don't lose the downtime of the escape room game. Run the haunt for Fridays and Saturdays only. I overextended last year. I did the typical haunt season, but I'm not big enough yet. Houston's a weird haunted house town. It's not like the Midwest and the East Coast, West Coast, where the haunts are huge in those places. Houston's weird. We have 7. I think there's 7. In Dallas, Fort Worth, there's like 24. Okay, wow. It's very bizarre. But so the customers are different. In Dallas, Fort Worth area, they hop around different haunts. Houston, it's I've noticed that people are like, I've been to this one 10 years in a row. So you got to kind of build your own crew, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited because last year was so much fun. Haunted house. If you ever work in a haunted house, it's an adrenaline rush. It's so fun. So we can't wait to do this. And then what we'll do is we'll get through Halloween's like on a Monday or something, and then immediately flip back, put the bodies back upstairs, make sure everything's working, lick our wounds, and then kick back in.
Wow.
That's the plan. See, most haunted houses, there's a lot of haunted houses in escape room games. They're starting to get into it, but they put them on the side of the haunt.
Yeah.
So the most famous one's going to be like 13th Gate in Baton Rouge, I believe. Their haunted house has been around forever. It was called House of Shock. Before that, the singer from Pantera was one of the people that started that thing, and it's awesome. The videos I've seen, I've never been to it, but one of the guys that helped me build it, he used to work there, and I've watched a lot of clips on it. But I have not been yet, but it's on my list. They have apparently some of the best haunted house escape room games on the side, but no one puts them inside, which is done.
Yeah.
Have all this scenery. Why don't you do it?
Yeah, really. Yeah, a lot of haunted houses. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, so a lot of haunted houses around here, it's just like pop-up things, know. And in fact, they don't really do that much anymore. I worked for a company that used to do one as a fundraiser, and we had to stop doing it. But it was like this big production, and people on my team would go work at it and be part of it. And they said it was just a lot of work, because you're just standing in this one place and you're doing this jump and doing it again, people walking by and we don't have anything like that. But that means to reuse things, that makes the most sense, right? You're reusing what you already have, adding to it, but you're not rebuilding something or having something totally separate. And then it's you also have the benefit of somebody coming in and be like, ooh, this is cool. And, oh, you do escape rooms too. I'll come back, and do that.
Yeah. From a marketing standpoint, I had, everyone that signed up and bought tickets for the haunt then now gets emails about the escape room. Everyone that goes, by the way, as an insurance guy, all these escape room guys make you sign waivers. Waivers are garbage. Because you signed it, but your wife didn't. Your kids could sue. And I asked this guy, what the hell do y'all do waivers? Haunted houses don't do waivers. Why do you do waivers? To get their email addresses. It's kind of building on itself. So now I'm building up all these escape room folks that love the place, and they're coming back. It's crazy how fast they come back to finish all the games. Yeah. They want to do the whole story.
That's awesome.
I need a fourth one, but now they get to go see another side of Terror Isle, which is crazy different. I mean, the technology, we changed the lights, the sound, the intensity of everything. So haunted house is so loud. Everything's jammed up loud, the strobe lights and the intensity of the lights, and you're trying to get people on edge. Escape rooms, you can't do that because they got to be able to talk to each other. We've had to bring down. The sounds are, we got eagles and all kinds of pleasant sounds. But yeah, that gets flipped on its head. So it's going to be fun seeing how fast we can go the other way. But yeah, but for it's finished all the escape room games, has never been the haunted house. It's going to be like a whole different place they've never been to. They're like, whoa, what is this?
That's cool.
Did you say, I could be wrong, did you say that when you get closer to the haunt season, you're going to do something special with the escape rooms? I can't remember. I thought you said something.
A couple ideas. I have more ideas than I have energy and time. There's a escape room I played in Houston called Strange Bird. And if you're ever in, you've got to go do this thing.
It's so good.
It's just a different take than what we do. We're more universal, and these guys, they have actors in there, live actors, and it's more of a theater immersiveness. It's really, really awesome, and it's a long one. It's like an hour and a half, I think, long. Yeah, we went and played it with some friends that are about to open another escape room in Houston, and the owners found out it was all of us, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to come do the acting." So we had the owners do it, and then they gave us a behind-the-scenes tour. They're awesome people. And it gave me a really cool idea. And I'm like, okay, so about the time we're getting close to shutting down is when we do actor tryouts for the haunt. Why not put these guys in costume for the last 2 weeks before we shut down and embed them in the escape room games?
Yeah.
Just random characters in there. They're not necessarily running the games or anything, but you just got people walking around talking to you. So now you got pirates and voodoo people and monsters jumping out and make it kind of just add a little immersiveness. But what I was thinking is it gives those people time to practice their characters.
Yeah.
Because a really good haunt, you need the backstory. They need to have some frame, like I said, with artists, but you give them the freedom to play in it. Not just boo, get out. If anybody says that, it's terrible. It's terrible. There are haunts that do that, and there's ones in Houston I've been to that I'm just like, boo.
That's all you got.
No, don't do that. You're making me cringe. So I'm thinking about doing that, at least with a few of our actors, to let them flesh out their characters, because I think it'd be really cool too. Just add another level to it. But then in October, I'm doing another thing where every Thursday I've got a micro event, is what I'm calling them. So basically, the first Thursday, the local junior college has they teamed up with me, and they gave me this idea, so I'm giving credit to them. College of they're going to have a program there where we have about 30 people in there, and we have a lady who wrote a book about ghosts in Galveston. So she's going to do a lecture about ghosts, and then after it's over, I'm going to give a behind-the-scenes tour of the haunted house, so you can see all the. That I do. Cool. We love haunted house people. Love showing behind the curtain. Escape room people know they don't want to give you all the clues,
right.
but you see all the magic and all the monsters work and how it works. So that's going to be the first one. The second, and I was like, ooh, that's a cool idea, because I was going to throw a festival, and I started looking. I was like, oh, I don't want to throw a festival. I've done those. It's a pain in the butt, but this is easy and really cool. So this will be like VIP things, and they'll also get a pass to the haunted house. So they get to go to an event, get a behind the scenes tour, and they get a pass. So the second week, I've got the paranormal ghost hunters coming. So they're coming to my building next month. It's a building from 1915. I've got about a half a dozen employees that claim they've seen two ghosts, a lady and a man. I have not, but I can tell you I had some strange crap happen in the building. I've been in there early morning by myself, and things are slamming that should not slam. We've had a panic button pushed, and there's no one been upstairs.
Oh, man.
It's one of those ones you got to stick your finger and push up. So they're going to come do an investigation of the building. It's going to be really cool.
That's
and
cool.
Then it's called South Texas Haunts. They're on Facebook. You can find them on there. They have videos on YouTube. They're going to come do their investigation with all their equipment. But then that Thursday in October, they're going to come back and do a whole presentation of like places they've gone and all that. That thing's getting so much buzz locally. I'm actually renting the building on the next block and doing a huge event with that, where they're going to be able to showcase all their stuff. Then I'll bring them in and do a behind the scenes tour, and then you get to pass the haunt. The third week is going to be Billy, who wrote the horror books. He's going to come in there and talk about writing horror background. He may bring another person with him. And then the fourth, I got a tarot card reader girl coming that's going to talk about how to read tarot and all that. it's gonna be cool. So it's like little special VIP events you go to. You get the behind the scenes tour, and then you get to come back and do the haunt on the weekend.
That's cool.
That's
I
cool.
want to check those out. Yeah, definitely.
It'll be fun, and it's all of it. I think my normal tickets for the haunt's like $25. I don't charge a lot because the haunt's about 15 minutes walk through, but we destroy you. We hit you. Each actor hits you about 5 times because the way, not physically, but the way our haunt's design is, you can be on one side and you can hop to the other side in like 2 seconds, and people don't even know. So an actor can get you multiple times. That's how the really, really good haunts. It was well designed for this. And so when you leave, you're shocked and awed. You're like, whoa. And then we will have a tarot card reader there that's going to be doing fortunes every night. So we built a special room for that. But yeah, it's definitely trying to do some different things. I think these little events are going to be really cool for people, especially people who love Halloween.
Cool. Well, I've got some thoughts that after we stop recording, I'm going to tell you. I won't say it on the air, but
I love feedback from anyone. And that was the best thing, is bringing in some of these escape room pros. I let them play free a couple of the games. Some of them, they came back and paid for some, and I was like, please beat me up. I want you to beat me up. I want to know whatever. And they're like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, but they give me a few things that I was just like, I didn't think about that. So feedback is awesome, because if you think you got the best thing and you stop learning, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Well, it was an amazing time. Do you guys, Chris, Katrin, have any questions?
No, I just want to say I love the artwork. Ryan's got some behind him, but on your website and everything, the artwork is really nice.
So even the graphics, if you go look at haunted houses, my graphics are totally different. This is done by a New Orleans artist. I got New Orleans. What I do is I go get heavy metal artists that do album covers for bands.
Nice.
A, cheap. B, they're awesome. And there's a little Scooby-Doo vibe there. You see it, the color.
Yeah.
So I tried I'm going for that Saw thing. That's not my thing. I've never liked Saw movies. I'm going for that eerie, spooky kind of thing, right? So this year's shirts, I got 2 guys that do heavy metal albums. One guy's from Germany, and he's got the Voodoo Priestess shirt. That's amazing. And the other guy, I did not know this. He's done artwork for a band. If you listen to heavy metal, a band called High on Fire. They just won the Grammy 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Those guys were in bands called like Sleep, and they're like stoner metal stuff. He did their artwork. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So these guys are out there. So, and I just kind of, I want that. Our shirts are this way too. We have a really cool, it's more of like I love heavy metal stuff. So I got more of a metal, the stoner rock, sludgy kind of vibe thing instead of the typical hot stuff that you see. So I dig all these art. These guys have so much stuff. I just want to keep printing shirts, but I have so many shirts to sell. But,
very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it'll be hard to get Katrin down here, but at least my brother's in McKinney, Texas, so I at least want to get him down here to go to do this, because I think he'll love it. Katrin, maybe when you're down here sometime, we can get you.
I'll be in there in July, so
that's true. So maybe we can come and do.
My flight is very late on that Sunday, so.
Oh, there we go. Maybe we can do a room.
We have a lot of time that day.
Yeah.
Just let us know. You guys need to come check out that
Awesome.
game. Y'all love it. And you even fish in that game, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Nobody does fishing.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Well, again, thanks for coming on, and it is amazing. Tell everybody where they can go buy tickets, where they can find all the information, all that stuff, so we can get your name out there as much as we can.
So you just go to terrorisle.com. Yes, the Texas accent does it. They're like, Terror, what?
Terror.
RRORISLE. You can see it on the backdrop there. .com. You can go in there. All of these games, you book them. You book your time. You can do 4 to 8 people. If you want to do a party, we do parties. We'll shut the whole place down. You can have the whole place to yourself. We could do about 30 max on that. We'll set up the front room. We have it all designed up. I mean, it is cool. You're sitting on top of a ship. So you can go in there, pick your time. Those things are normally $35 a ticket, which is about in line with these things. But if you use the code word ahoy, it'll knock $5 off. The haunt will start selling tickets. Probably beginning September 1. Those are $25. It'll be the same place. You just go online and book it. And those special events, they'll be on there. And we're also got, as soon as my webmaster gets it up, we're going to start singles night. This is cool. The last Friday of every month, we're going to take singles. We're going to shuffle them all up, and we're going to throw them in rooms. You never know. You might.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's and also for people that don't have big groups to play. You have to have 4 to play our games. Yeah. Typically, if you call me and you got 3, I'll let you slide. But the singles night, we're going to take 30 strangers, mix them up, toss them in the rooms, and who knows what happens. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
All of that can get Soltero, and we're on Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff too. You can find some of that.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on tonight.
No, I appreciate you guys having us.
And before we go, we will be at Comicpalooza this July
16th and 17th.
16th, 17th. Is it 16th, 17th, 18th is Comicpalooza?
No, it's 15th through the 17th, 16th, but we'll be there 16th and 17th.
I'll probably be there 15th too.
Well, there you go. There are some wrestling matches that night on the 15th.
Yes. And we were be doing a live show. We haven't got confirmation if they approved our theme for the live show, but if they do, then this is right up your alley, Craig. We'll be talking about treasure hunting and treasures that you can still find that are hidden in the Houston area and in Texas today. You could go out there and search for them today. So hopefully I can get some of your stuff and I'll bring it. And when we talk about treasure hunting, we're like, you want to go look for some treasure at Treasure Isle? Here you go. Here's the info. Go
Terror Isle.
All right, Terror Isle. Go. I'm sorry, it's late. Go down there and give a shout out there. Well, there's treasure at Terror Isle, right?
Yes.
Anyways,
there's plenty. No, where's that convention going to be at?
It's going to be at the. Oh man.
Is it Houston? Or
yeah, it's
in Houston. Yeah.
The
big convention center that's right there at the Astros.
With Georgia Brown.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
And that's the 16th of next month?
That's it.
Yeah,
it's a Saturday and Sunday.
16th and 17th.
Well, we'll be at the Texas Haunters Convention at the same time.
Oh, man.
Mesquite, Texas. So
they usually have some different. Yeah. They usually have some different haunts kind of people there from different, I guess, haunt whatever businesses or whatever, and then there's some creepy people walking around. We saw some girl with a leash on this guy that was just all creepy looking and just different.
That's just the attendees.
That's awesome. No, we're really loving going to these conventions. We're doing the Houston Horror Film Festival. I don't know if y'all have seen that one. You need to check it out. It's becoming one of the biggest national ones for if you like people in movies. They've got everybody coming to an autograph.
Cool.
Interesting.
That one's next month too. We have a booth there. We're going to start doing these booths. We found these booths are better because it's a lot of people, believe it or not, have never played escape room games and they don't know what it is. They think it's that movie where you're stuck and locked and you die. And but we love these things. I'm gonna start going to these Comic Cons and setting up booths too. And of course, dress up and all that stuff.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, we'll be dressed up. Be having fun.
Comicpalooza, they're going to have Jackie Earle Haley, who played Freddy in Nightmare.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Y'all go look at that Houston Horror Film Festival. If you see their lineup, you're gonna be blown away. I mean, they got the kid that was in Chucky. They got Tom Arnold be there. They got the lady from Sleepaway Camp, the girl that moved. And all the movies. I mean, they have a ton. I was shocked. They keep rolling more people out.
Oh, and Alice Cooper. They'll have Alice Cooper.
Oh, yeah, Alice Cooper.
Nice.
Yeah. And Sergeant Slaughter. So there we go.
Cool.
There's a lot of people there. Anyways, thank you again for coming out. We'll stay on and chat a little bit afterwards, but we're going to sign off here on the podcast. This has been episode 241 of I Am Geek, and we'll be back next week with something new, something fun, and of course, something geeky.
What?